Yarhi vavasa bhagavan lokam imam yogasyadham pratipam iva chakshanaha tat pratikriya karma bhibatsitam iti vratam ajagaram astitaha shayana evashnati pibhati khadatyavamehati hadati sma cheshtamana ucharita adigdhodeshaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. When Lord Rishabhadeva saw that the general populace was very antagonistic to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python in order to counteract their opposition. Thus he stayed in one place and lay down. While lying down, he ate and drank, and he passed stool and urine and rolled in it. Indeed, he smeared his whole body with his own stool and urine so that opposing elements might not come and disturb him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. According to one's destiny, one enjoys allotted happiness and distress, even though one keeps himself in one place. This is the injunction of the Shastras. When one is spiritually situated, he may sit in one place and all his necessities will be supplied by the arrangement of the Supreme Controller. Unless one is a preacher, there is no need to travel all over the world. A person can stay in one place and execute devotional service suitably according to time and circumstance. When Rishabhadeva saw that he was simply being disturbed by traveling throughout the world, he decided to lie down in one place like a python. Thus he ate, drank, and he passed stool and urine and smeared his body with them so that people would not disturb him. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. I'll read the next verse because there is some reason for that. I'll explain later. Tasya hayaha purisha surabhi saugandhya vayuhu tam desham dashayojanam samantat surabhim chakara. Translation. Because Lord Rishabhadeva remained in that condition, the public did not disturb him. But no bad aroma emanated from his stool and urine. Quite the contrary, his stool and urine were so aromatic that they filled 80 miles of the countryside with a pleasant fragrance. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. From this we can certainly assume that Lord Rishabhadeva was transcendentally blissful. His stool and urine were so completely different from material stool and urine that they were aromatic. Even in the material world, Cow dung is accepted as purified and antiseptic. A person can keep stacks of cow dung in one place and it will not create a bad odor to disturb anyone. We can take it for granted that in the spiritual world, stool and urine are also pleasantly scented. Indeed, the entire atmosphere became very pleasant due to Lord Rishabhadeva's stool and urine. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. So we are reading in this chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam about Rishabhadeva's activities. Lord Rishabhadeva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. This is one of the incarnations of the Lord. A very extraordinary incarnation. Every incarnation of the Lord does some very extraordinary things. And we were seeing how Lord Rishabhadeva instructed his sons, and they are very wonderful instructions. It has become part of Srimad Bhagavatam because Bhagavatam promises Sarva Veda Itihasanam Saram Saram Samudhritam. This is the promise of Vyasadeva in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, that in this Bhagavatam I will present Sarva Veda Itihasanam Saram Saram Samudhritam. Very carefully picked up, very carefully chosen essence of Sarva Veda Itihasa. So, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva has compiled carefully from the histories of the universe, where there was the Lord's devotees gave some instructions which constituted Sarva Veda Itihasanam Saram Saram Samudhritam. This is the qualifying criteria. This is the filter that Vyasadeva has used to compose Srimad Bhagavatam. And Rishabhadeva, in his incarnations, he gave such instructions to his sons, which constituted the carefully selected essence of all Vedas and Itihasas. After that, Rishabhadeva went around preaching that. He was an emperor, he was a king, he was a ruler. He gave up palace, he gave palatial, royal comforts, went around preaching that message. But he encountered opposing elements. That is described in this verse also. Yarhi vavasa bhagavan lokam imam yogasya adha prathipam. Prathipam, antagonistic. He found lokam, imam lokam, prathipam. The common people, the loka, they were antagonistic to his teachings. Yogasya adha. He was teaching yoga. Prabhupada translates that as mystic yoga in this particular verse. And Prabhupada also translates in the Bhagavad Gita, yoga, a very celebrated translation. In the 4th chapter, 1st verse, yoga is translated by Srila Prabhupada as the science of one's relation with the Supreme. And that science of one's relation with the Supreme is mystical. We all have a relation with the Supreme, and that is a science not a sentiment. It is a science, it is a reality, not a belief, not an imagination. And that relation is between us and the Supreme. And that constitutes yoga. So that mystical yoga, that very same yoga, Rishabhadeva went around teaching. Yogasya adhya prathipam. When he went around teaching that, imam lokam yogasya adha pratipam. When he taught them, he found them to be opposing that. That's the nature of human society. Human society is not ready for yoga, for understanding our relation with the Supreme. We are more interested in the relation with other people in this world, and our relationship and our activities, and how we can enjoy sense gratification in such activities. That's what we are interested in this world. So Rishabhadeva encountered pratipam, opposition to what he was teaching. Yarhi va vasa bhagavan lokam imam yogasya adha pratipam iva achakshanastat pratikriya karma bhibatsitam. And he also saw that the material world, people are very active. People are not silent. They are working very hard. They are very busy. And what are they busy with? To get sense gratification, to overcome the miseries that they are, hurdles that they are experiencing. And in this way, their activities, pratikriya karma, their activities to overcome the hurdles were bhibatsitam, were abominable. Iva achakshanaha. This is the vision of the Supreme Lord Rishabhadeva. When the Supreme Lord sees human activities struggling to counter the hurdles and overcome the difficulties to enjoy sense gratification, the Lord's estimation is also bhibatsitam. What are these people doing? They value those relationships they have so much. In a flash of a time, all those relationships will be gone. Isn't it? In all our movies, we see romantic relation between hero and heroine. They sing songs together, and lyrics are composed. I can't live without you. And my hero sings, the heroine sings, I can't live without you too. I will be with you always. And the heroine also says, I will also be with you. Even in that 2-hour movie, at the end, they are all gone and separated. Just see what they were singing and what they were glorifying. That relationship, even 2 hours, it did not last. And we see all that. Still, it doesn't hit us. That's why, Mudha Sumandha Matayaha Manda Bhagya. This is the description of people of Kali Yuga. On the other hand, Krishna is saying, we all have an eternal, loving relation with Him. We must discover that. We must experience that. We must come to that, to perceive that. That we are not interested. So, he saw this, and then Rishabhadeva, he decided, iti vratam ajagaram. Ajagara means a serpent, a python, a big serpent. This big serpent, python, what it does is, it's so huge, its body is very big. To move also it's a cumbersome. It's not an agile snake. Some snakes are very quick, right? Like the cobra. They're very quick. This fellow is so huge. His body is so big. He can't move like that. So he has realized, I'll just wait. And I'll just be waiting. And some animal will come. I'll catch and eat it. That's how a python does. It doesn't move around. That's why it is called Ajagara. Non-moving snake. Can move, not that it cannot move. It can also slither and move like any other snake. But generally. So, Rishabhadeva took up the Ajagara Vratham. Iti Vratham Ajagaram. The Vrata means vow. Here, Prabhupada has translated that as the behavior. Vratam, because of your vow, you behave in a certain way. Because we have all taken Ekadashi Vrata, we behave in a certain way. On that day, very nice grain prasadam is given also. Although it's mouth-watering, we will say no. Not that we have become very detached or anything, but it's a vrata. It's a behavior. So, iti vratam ajagaram. And what did he do? Astitaha, wherever he was situated. Shayanaha, he slept there. Ashnati, he ate whatever he got. Pibati, sometimes Rishabhadeva lying down, somebody gave him something. He drank that if he got. Khadati, he would get something and he would chew. Avamehati, this is the tough part. Lying down, he would pass urine there. Hadati, lying there, he would pass stool. Cheshtamanaha, and he would be rolling in that place. Ucharite adhigdha uddeshaha, and because of his rolling in that place, and all those stool and urine got smeared all over his body. His body thus smeared, astitaha. This is Ajagara Vrithim. Ajagara Vratham. This is what he did. So, this Ajagara Vratham, Ajagara Vritti, Prabhupada is giving an explanation in the purport. What is this about? According to one's destiny, one enjoys allotted happiness and distress, even though one keeps himself in one place. This is the injunction of the Shastra. When one is spiritually situated, Rishabhadeva, we saw in the previous verse, how he was spiritually. He is of course the Lord, but he is playing the role of a human being. He is playing the role of a king. He is playing the role of a father, giving instruction to his children. And in that role, he exhibited exalted spiritual level of realization. So that position, he was situated in that. And so he was spiritually elevated. When one is spiritually situated, he may stay in one place and all his necessities will be supplied by the arrangement of the Supreme Controller. Prabhupada explains this kind of information in the Shastra, that there are two words in Sanskrit, anukarana and anusarana. Anukarana means to imitate. Anusarana means to follow in the footsteps. Rishabhadeva's example is not for anukarana, not for imitation, but it is for anusarana. How to follow the spirit of it, not to endeavor for material enjoyment, not to over endeavor for material enjoyment, but to just focus on spiritual development, because that's the most important thing. This body will be gone and our consciousness will survive. You see, this statement, this is such a nice explanation. Srila Prabhupada, many times he gave this. This body will be gone, but the consciousness which is inhabiting in this body will survive. This is the basic Bhagavad Gita 2nd chapter philosophy, isn't it? Na jayate na mriyate va kadachinnayat atma bhavitavana bhuyah ajo nityam shashvatoyam purano na hanyate. Hanyamane sharire, sharire hanyamane na hanyate. That consciousness. Now, someone may ask, and Krishna has said, Tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatra namuhiti. In the same way, when we die, consciousness will survive. Now, somebody may ask, how do we know consciousness will survive? That is why Krishna is giving this example. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara. When we were born, we were all this small. Today, we have become so big. Our mother was holding us like this. We were only this small. Each one of us. Anybody thinks otherwise? Anybody has a doubt? No. This is reality. We were all this big. And that small baby body that our mother gave birth to grew and grew and grew. And that body went away. Another body has got replaced, but the consciousness has survived and moved on to the new body situation. That's called Tata Dehantara Praptihi. Antardeha Prapti. Kaumaram Yavvanam. We were all boys and some girls, young. And then that went off. And then we came to a youthful body. That boy body, young, middle school boy. You will have a picture of that one. In uniform, school uniform, carrying bag, something. And that body is gone. But the consciousness has survived. Come to a new situation of the body, new body. You see how Krishna is explaining these things? So that this body will be gone. The consciousness which is inhabiting the body, that is important. That's spiritual life. That's the Vedic civilization. To understand that consciousness is important, it survives the changes in the body. And finally, when this body is no more usable, also that consciousness survives and now goes to another situation, another body. And these are all governed by higher laws. Just like we were born in a human body. How did we choose? We were born, some as men, some as women. Did we choose? These are all decided by higher laws. The sun is there in the sky, the moon is in the sky, they are revolving. Did we decide? Did the government organize it that way? No. These are all higher laws governed by higher principles. These are all not man-made. So, understanding these things. So, Rishabhadeva, so the principle is, when one is spiritually advanced, he does not endeavor anymore for any material things. And he decides that whatever comes, I will accept. That's called Ajagara Vritti, Ajagara Vratham. And very elevated persons do that. And Srila Prabhupada says, this is not for Anukarana, this is for Anusarana. And Prabhupada gives two examples in our own parampara who practiced this. One was Bilva Mangal Thakur. Another was Madhavendra Puri. Bilva Mangal Thakur was blind in Vrindavan. He would just stay in one place. Whatever comes, he would eat. If nothing comes, he would not eat. He's not anymore disturbed by the Prakrita Kshobha. This is called Prakrita Shobha. Kshobha. Kshobha means all disturbed. After some time, we want to eat, we want to sleep. These are all Prakrita Kshobha. We are agitated by hunger, by thirst, by tiredness, by fatigue, by sleep. When one is spiritually elevated, Nahaya, Prakrita Kshobha, Nahaya, one is not disturbed at all. That stage is called Bhava stage. When one is in Bhava stage, Chaitanya Charitamrita explains that one is freed from the disturbances of Prakrita Kshobha. That is an indication. So, Bilva Mangal Thakur was blind. He would just sit in one place. He would be composing some works, some his realizations, some revelations Krishna was revealing him. And he would not go around eating anything. But every day he was getting milk, fresh milk. And he would accept because he cannot make out. And that was Krishna himself coming every day and giving him milk. He is so elevated. That's why it is not meant for Anukarana. It is meant for Anusarana. So, Prabhupada has said here in this purport, unless one is a preacher, there is no need to travel all over the world. But we have, you see, Shastras have all kinds of instructions. All kinds of situations are being described. But now how do we apply it in our lives? Suppose somebody, a devotee says, Prabhu, this morning we heard Ajagara Vritti. That's why I decided not to go for any service today. I'll just be near the Prasadam hall, I'll be. So this is not for us. For us, Prabhupada has given a certain lifestyle. He has given us a certain life pattern. Guru gives. You follow this life pattern I have given you, bhakti will awaken in your heart. That is why we don't follow this in imitating it, but we follow its essence. And we have good prasadam, and we go out and do hard work preaching Srila Prabhupada's message, Prabhupada's mission, our Guru's mission. Sorry. Now, I read the next verse because I didn't want to leave you all in too much suspense. Oh my God. Cheshtamana ucharite adigdha uddheshaha. He is rolling in the stool and urine. What's happening? How is it? So in the next verse, Bhagavatam is clarifying, Tasyaha yaha purisha, the stool, surabhi saugandhya vayuhu. His purisha stool had surabhi saugandha vayuhu. It was aromatic. It was so aromatic, tam desham dashayojanam samantat surabhim chakara. For how many? 80 miles. Dashayojanam. It was so fragrant. And this is the nature of transcendental body. Now, just before in this chapter only, I'll read one verse. Prabhupada often quoted this verse also. We discussed this verse. About Rishabhadeva's body. Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam. Rishabhadeva himself is saying, Idam shariram mama durvibhavyam sattvam hi me hridayam yatra dharmaha. My body, idam shariram, it is completely transcendental, durvibhavyam. It is inconceivable. It cannot be understood because his body is transcendental body. So, it is not surprising that his transcendental body and the stool and urine that comes from that is Surabhi Saugandha Purishaha. It is not ordinary. Srila Prabhupada once gave a class on this in Vrindavan, 1976, probably 75 or 76. In the 1970s, in the 80s also it went on. I remember when I had become a devotee. 80s, later on 90s it dwindled, 2000 it dwindled further. There were many people, or at least not many, I wouldn't say right, many is incorrect. There were a few people in our country, in the religious, spiritual landscape of our country, there were about half a dozen incarnations. They would call themselves incarnation. They'll do some magic. Some ashes will come. If you are lucky, gold chain will come. If you are not lucky, only ashes will come. And they would all call themselves. And very often when Prabhupada's disciples went around in India, they would encounter these things. And so they would come back and tell Srila Prabhupada. And then Srila Prabhupada would enlighten them, would tell them, no, they're all bogus. And so on. And so when Prabhupada was giving a class in Vrindavan on these verses, on this subject, Prabhupada said, this is the test for an incarnation. We will tell that rascal, pass stool, let us see what smell it is giving. It may appear a little gross, but it's a fact. How they are fooling around. What is an incarnation? Who is Bhagavan? And I remember another thing in the newspapers. Once that Bhagavan, he had a lot of real estate, properties, assets, ashrams, branches all over the world, cars, so many things. So there was an assassination attempt on him. And he lifted his dhoti. He used to wear one kind of a dhoti-like thing. And he ran from one place to another. And somehow newspapers, media, somebody caught the picture, photograph. Then the next day in the news, Deccan Herald, it came, Bhagavan is running for his life. Lifting his dhoti, running for his life. You see how it is? So, Srila Prabhupada would make such statements. Now, another interesting thing, whenever we come across some difficult things described in the Vedic literatures, Srila Prabhupada helps us to how we can understand and appreciate these things. Here Prabhupada is giving the example. You are surprised that Rishabhadeva's stool and urine was Surabhi Saugandhya, Surabhi Sugandha. It was so aromatic. You may wonder, how is it possible? So Srila Prabhupada is saying, look at cow. Cow dung and cow urine, it doesn't smell bad at all. Prabhupada is saying, you can have a stack of cow dung cakes and you will not feel any disturbance. You see? So, a cow is so you can relate. Oh yeah, that's true. Cow also has dung and urine and it is not disturbing. It is quite purifying on the other hand. We even purify the deity with cow dung and cow urine. It's so purifying. So, Prabhupada often gives this kind of examples to help us, because we are all trained in logic, right? We think logically. Oh, we have seen ours and dogs, cats, and it's all abominable. How about this? So, Prabhupada is helping us. No, it is possible. Just like another example Srila Prabhupada gives. Krishna lifted the Govardhan hill. Prabhupada gives an example. Krishna, is it difficult for him to lift Govardhan hill? He's already lifting huge planets and keeping them floating in the universe. Huge earth is floating. Krishna has kept it floating. Krishna has kept sun floating, which is many times bigger than the earth, and many other planets bigger than the earth. All of them, Krishna has kept them floating. If Krishna can do all that, what is the big deal that they're lifting one hill? It's nothing. As Bhagavatam describes, it was like as difficult as for a small boy to pull out one mushroom and hold it. No big effort. You see how Srila Prabhupada gives these kind of examples to make us understand? Srila Prabhupada is not only teaching, he is conveying a certain conviction that has to come with this understanding. Srila Prabhupada is not just like some scholars we come across who will give a talk. Srila Prabhupada is a realized soul. He is a fully realized devotee. And he is eager to impart that conviction to us. Once a devotee asked Srila Prabhupada, how do we know, Srila Prabhupada, there is a planet and there is an ocean of milk there? Prabhupada asked, have you gone all over the universe and seen all the planets? Very simple, isn't it? Prabhupada gave very simple. What? Have we seen all the planets, all the parts of the universe, and what ocean is there? What kind of ocean is there? Here you have a salt ocean, salt water ocean. How did it become salt water? How did it become sodium chloride, salt water? Why not potassium chloride? Why not some other chloride? Why not some other fluoride? Something else. So it's unique. So, but we take it for granted. We don't question because it's commonplace, available. So often, every time we are seeing, we take it for granted. In the same way, for instance, the sun. Recently, I was talking to one very big man, very successful man, very influential man, big office. So I was just thinking how to tell him something about Krishna consciousness. Then I told him, you see, when we met him, somebody came and served water also. And he was sipping water every now and then. So I told him, you see, every few minutes or hours, we need water. And every few hours, we need food to eat. If there is no food, we will become, uncomfortable. And leave water and food. Every minute, we need air. Now look at air, water, food. None of these things are man-made. They are not industry-made. They are not government-made. It's not the king or the emperor or the government is supplying all these are all arrangements of God. Even when you buy a bottled water, you paid for the transportation, you paid for the plastic bottle, you paid for the purification of the water, you paid for the transportation, that somebody who sold it to you, his profit also you paid, all the taxes government took. Everybody got paid in the supply chain. But when the water was picked up from the reservoir, it was picked up free of cost. Isn't it? It's a fact. Air. We are all breathing free. Air, water, food. Even if you go to a restaurant and eat, in that dish that has come on the plate in front of you, he will take the payment before you leave the restaurant. And somebody who electricity, water, everybody gets paid. But when they picked up the vegetable, grains, all these things, that's free. And not all that came about because of the earth, water, sunshine. And just imagine sunshine, it is not a small arrangement. According to science, we know what's going on in the sun is a fusion reaction. It's such a huge fusion reaction that's happening. No scientists have not even attempted that on earth, because when such thing is done, it can go out of control. Deadly. Such a huge arrangement of fusion reaction. Last 9 billion years it is going on. Last 13 billion years it's going on. And it is estimated that another 9 billion years it will go on. Every morning, religiously, 6:30 it rises up. 6:30 it sets. What an arrangement. And because of that sunlight, we have food to eat. We have water. We have rain. All the things that are happening that we are dependent on. You see? Nobody can deny these things. So, like this, what was that I was saying? So this is the, so we have to recognize God is maintaining all of us. Krishna is maintaining all of us. And that our consciousness has to become sensitive to these realities of our life. But we become so absorbed in having big offices, big houses, big cars, big plans. These things which are freely available to us, we don't pay attention to these things. And so this is how we should be conscious, and so Srila Prabhupada is helping us to understand these are given in the Shastra. These are the truth, Sarva Veda Itihasanam Saram Saram. That's why Krishna says in the 9th chapter, Ashraddha Dhana Purusha Dharma Syasya Parantapa Aprapya Mam Nivartante Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. Actually, Krishna has set out in the 9th chapter, I'll tell you something very confidential. And then he is setting a criteria. If you want to appreciate and understand this very confidential truth, you should have faith in my words. If you don't have a faith, Ashraddha Dhana Purushaha Dharmasyasya Parantapa Asya Dharmasya Ashraddha Dhana Purushaha. What happens if he is Ashraddha Dhana? If he has no faith, Aprapya Mam, you will not achieve me. Mrityu Samsara Nivartate Mrityu Samsara Vartmani. We will continue the cycle of birth and death. So Krishna is giving this very, very valuable instruction, and Srila Prabhupada not only wanted to give us that information, he also wanted us to develop that Shraddha, which is essential. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki Nitai Go Premananda.